What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Eurythmics, and we're moving to this live, I think, double disc compilation, Eurythmics Live 1983 to 1989, which was released in 1993. And it begins with a live performance of Never Gonna Cry Again, and I was initially wary because I remember back when I went through In the Garden, in the folder Phil made available, and he's also made this live compilation available, thank you again to Phil, there was a live bonus track performance of Never Gonna Cry Again. And so I just checked, the song lengths are like a minute different. So I'm assuming this is a different live recording, and if I had to guess, probably one that was recorded after the one. Meaning, I'm guessing the one that I reacted to a couple years ago as part of the expanded folder for In the Garden was recorded in 81 or thereabouts, whereas the live performances here are from 83 to 89. So yes, assuming they are indeed different recordings, and I'm almost sure of that given the difference in duration of the two tracks, yes, I'll say that I very much enjoy this tune. I remember being abused because I talked about when I first heard the song that it was compelling, but in a couple places it was dissonant to the point where it almost like felt a bit uncomfortable. And then after re-listening to it more, and once I reacted to the music video, I felt like I had been mistaken, and I felt like it was in a really good place in terms of the consonance and dissonance mix. And yes, I think it's a great tune, and in fact, mentioning the video, it still actually might be my favorite video by them, even though I've seen videos with, at the time, very cutting-edge, like, computer graphical technology, and I have seen other videos with more elaborate production from them. But yeah, I just really enjoy that video, and it's sort of surrealist environment with Annie, coming out of the water, and then the shenanigans at that table where they're eating, and then the flute player, or is it a flute? I think it's a flute, and people pointed out it's actually Annie playing it on the track. But yeah, I like the quirkiness and simplicity of that video and its surrealist tone, and as I mentioned when I did the reaction for the video, I think Annie looks great in it. I had never seen her with that kind of haircut before. Nevertheless, I'm very fond of the tune now. It's one of my favorites from their earliest period, so looking forward to hearing how it might sound, and I have a sense for what the live performance sounded like that I already reacted to, which again I'm assuming was a couple years at least before the one we're about to hear now. But yes, I think it sounded quite similar to the album version of the track, so curious to hear if it's any different. Let's give it a listen. This is the Eurythmics and a live performance of Never Gonna Cry Again, a tune originally from their debut album, 1981, In the Garden. Amazing. That's awesome. And that was notably distinct from the album version and the other live version, which is to say, the production sounds a bit more polished. It definitely sounded a bit fuller and more epic. And don't get me wrong, I actually very much enjoy the raw sound of the original or album version of the track. And again, I think the live version I reacted to a couple years ago, which I assume is at least a couple years before this, I feel like it was very much in line with the studio version. But yeah, I think the fuller production, it gives it a bit more of a dense sound, and certainly in the latter stages, I feel like it flourishes more. It becomes more epic and intense. And I think part of that is Annie's vocalizations. I think there are more vocalization flourishes in this live version than in the other one I listened to. I feel like also in the opening minute or two of the track, she's singing in a lower register than either the album version or that other live version. Eventually she does, get higher and more like in the upper part of her range in some of the belts and some of the vocalizations. And, I feel like I could hear Annie roll her R's whenever she feels like doing that. I really enjoy that. There's an intensity to it, but it's also a bit of fun. I do think also she would be very good at like jazz scatting, the non-verbal vocalizations in the final minute or so of this. Like it's like she's really just improvising it and just letting it fly. And then of course she ends by dropping very deep once again and doing those sobbing type of vocalizations, seemingly contradicting the mantra that she's repeating, that never gonna cry again. And I like how, and I'm trying to remember if this is the case in the album version and or that other live version, the way it's like she depersonalizes it. She renders the person in third person, like telling Mama, don't ever cry again. It's like she's removing herself from the main subject of the mantra, and thus maybe in a way dissociating from the pain that she's actually feeling, as again we hear her sobbing by the end. So yeah, maybe that's the same in the album version. I don't actually remember in the moment, but yeah, this one again, it's like a minute longer, and I feel like most of that extension likely comes at the end, where it's just really seeming to go a bit solo / improvisation in terms of the culmination of the tune. I do also enjoy the guitar. I think that hits a bit more, not ferociously, but with a bit more edge to it than in the album version. Definitely that middle instrumental section felt very similar. It still had that tension of being like at the same time sonorous and dissonant, which it feels like those are almost overtly contradictory or oxymoronical, but yeah, it has this weird tension and character to it where it's a bit off even as it's compelling to hear. So I very much have come to enjoy that section, and I think it hit it in a very faithful manner here, even if the production is a bit different. And of course it's a live atmosphere, and live versions of songs extending or adding a longer crescendo at the end, that is very much common, I think, in live performances in different kinds of music. So either way, I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the rest of the compilation, and there's I think 28 tracks in here, so we have many to go through, and I guess it'll cover us for in these tandems that I'm now going to do for at least the first couple Annie solo albums. So yeah, we've got a lot of live Eurythmics to go through. Once again, shout out to Phil. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.